On this edition of Lexington Now, Juneteenth, Stormwater Grants, and composting tips. I'm Neil Noah, and welcome to Lexington Now for the week of June 15th, 2026. Juneteenth is this week, and Lexington has a schedule of events celebrating the occasion.
This year marks the 6th year that Juneteenth is officially recognized as a national holiday, and actually, quite honestly, it is the 7th year that Lexington has celebrated it officially. So, yes, we're on the cutting edge.
We are.
So, Juneteenth flags will adorn Main Street beginning on June 15th. There will also be commemorative banners along the Legacy Trail from Isaac Murphy Memorial Art Garden to the North Lexington YMCA. And this year, we have 8 different Juneteenth events beginning on Sunday, June 14th and continuing through Sunday, June 21st. So first, on June 14th at 3 o'clock p.m., we have the first annual Miss and Miss Junior Juneteenth pageant. Next, we have the Juneteenth Jubilee at African Cemetery Number 2 on June 17th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. This is Lexington's oldest Juneteenth celebration. And last year, the event celebrated its 20th year. Now we have this year's A Sense of Place Juneteenth celebration that will take place on June 19th. The program will begin at 11 a.m. So next, on June 19th, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, is I Am a Descendant of Nation Builders, a Juneteenth youth celebration at the historic Lyric Theater. The Say It Loud Juneteenth Festival will take place at the historic Lyric Theater from noon until 8 p.m. on June 19th. Next up, we have the Kentucky U.S. Freedman Coalition Juneteenth celebration, and it will be on June 20th from noon until 8 o'clock right here at Charles Young Park. Next, on June 20th, we have Soul Feast. We got to remember the food. This year's Soul Feast will take place from 2 o'clock until 9 o'clock p.m. at Gatton Park. The event will feature an unveiling of a marker dedicated to the legacy of R.C.O. Benjamin. Finally, Wise Guys Urban Uplift that will take place June 21st from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock at Douglas Park. So we definitely have a lot of great things going on this Juneteenth, and we really thank all of you because none of this can happen without you all. And so it does take a lot of folks to partner and do these events, and it is really for everybody here to enjoy. So I'm a little biased, but I think we have probably the best Juneteenth celebration in the nation, don't you?
Yeah.
And it'll grow even more next year.
All these events taking place for Juneteenth, of course, why wouldn't it have this many events going on? Because it's actually celebrating all of America. This America is not America without Juneteenth. It is a day we should all celebrate. We're about celebrating. We're about celebrating people. We're about celebrating love. We're about celebrating culture and the history that this America has become, because without Juneteenth, again, there is no America. Today, the reason why we even to be able to do what we do is because of all the cultures that are put in. We are a pot of stew. We're not a melting pot. That means that everyone maintains their own culture. They have own traditions. They love who they love. They celebrate how they celebrate, but yet we're going to share the juices. And the juices is what makes this country so great. You know, when we put it all together, that's why we are who we are. I know we only got 2 minutes. I would talk forever on why this event is so important. I know visually you see people of color up here, but do not get mistaken. Everyone is invited to every one of these events, no matter of who you love, no matter of how you celebrate your spiritual beliefs, no matter your skin tone. We're inviting everyone to come out for a week of fun, enjoyment, food. Who doesn't love food? Food, music, entertainment, learning, a wealth of knowledge. And I will stop. My 2 minutes is up. Thank you for having us.
Isn't it?
Yes, thank you.
I love your excitement, Christian. Thank you very much.
Stormwater grants are open for applications. Frank Mabson explains the process.
My name is Frank Mabson. I'm working with the Division of Water Quality for the City of Lexington, and I'm overseeing the Stormwater Quality Projects Incentive Grants Program. Well, the grant program was established to help private companies and neighbors, some of our neighbors, mitigate some of their stormwater concerns, issues. It was helped to provide funding for stormwater infrastructure pieces. We have two different types. There's Class A neighborhood projects. For example, if you have erosion along a stream, say you have a group of homeowners that are losing their backyards because of erosion, so you might have them apply for a Class A grant that we may be able to help fund some of that stream restoration. And there's Class B, which is for our commercial fee payers. So we do stuff like permeable pavers, bioswales, spillway project to shore up spillways to make sure that the erosion is not occurring over spillways. Residential fee payers pay a flat fee. And that would be your homeowners association, residential condo associations. They can apply as a group, which represents those residential homeowners. And then the commercial property owners, they pay based on the square footage of impervious areas on their properties. This program receives 10% of the revenue, the water quality management fee revenue that's collected the previous year. So we receive 10% of the funding. Then we allocate so much to the Class A type grants, so much to the Class B education grants, and so much to the Class B infrastructure grants. So there's different tiers. Gray Line Station, which is right off of Loudon, East Loudon, 109 Loudon. That was a project that the incentive grant program helped with. Lextran, which is also on Loudon, did some bioretention areas, some permeable pavers, town branch project that just happened. The program helped fund some of the depaving activities. So you had this giant parking lot right in back of Rupp Arena. Our program helped get rid of all the concrete. We helped remove all the concrete, and we helped incorporate 2 treatment devices where the water passes through, and it's kind of like what you call an oil water separator. And we also did the educational signage. You would submit your application. The Division of Water Quality will put together staff to evaluate those applications, and once we finish scoring those, they would come to a meeting where the Water Quality Fee Board would then make the final decision about who receives those awards. And then once the awards are met, then we would send out a grant award agreement for consideration by those applicants. And once they return it signed to us, we would present it to the Urban County Council, who would then make the final approval consideration for those contracts. The deadline for Class A and B education grants is on first Friday in May, and that would be May 1st. And then for our Class B infrastructure grants, that deadline is the last Friday in July, which is July 31st. You can go to our Lexington Fayette Urban County government, the city's main website, and just go to the Division of Water Quality, and there's a link there for the Stormwater Quality Projects Incentive Grants Program. If you click on that link, you'll see the different types of grants, and you can just click on the link for that particular type of application that you're looking for.
When we come back, tips for composting.
everybody. You're watching Lexington Now on Lex TV.
Welcome back to Lexington Now. With the warm weather months here and gardening in full swing, it's a great time to learn about composting.
Composting is the process of breaking down your food scraps kind of naturally in a very environmentally friendly way. There are a lot of different things that are compostable, but there are a lot of different things that are not compostable. A lot of the things that are unfortunately not compostable in an at-home system are a lot of the things that are labeled compostable in stores. A lot of the times nowadays you'll see a lot of paper products that are labeled compostable, a lot of utensils and things like that as well. And unfortunately, unless you're sending those to an industrial composter, they're never going to quite hit the temperature needed to break down in the ideal way. So those ones are a hard one to kind of deal with, and then there are lots of items like your milk and other dairy products, your eggs, your meats. Those are all items that, while food and while technically compostable, are also in the same situation. A lot of those paper products where it's all about temperature, and so you got to hit those right temperatures to get things broken down properly and timely. The big issue is just the fact that a lot of pests will get in there before you can get everything to that right temperature and broken down all the way. There's a real kind of baseline level of science that goes into composting where you're combining carbons and nitrogens into the perfect ratio that when kind of all heaped together in a perfect pile where you get the right combination of weight as well, you start to break down all of the different kind of mixture of things that you've put in into what is essentially going to just be soil. If you're ever out and about in the woods and things like that, you see leaves breaking down into dirt. It's essentially the exact same process, but very, very controlled in a way that you get things in a timely manner and in something that gives you a lot of nutrients that can then be used in your garden. There are definitely plenty of concerns that people have before they want to dive into composting. One of the biggest things is trying to make sure that they even create enough waste to get into composting itself. I've kind of mentioned that weight and the combination of materials that you're putting into things is very important. And there are some different ways that you can make sure that you're going to be outputting enough to actually create a usable material. Some of that can be something like the size of the composter that you're using, or the type of composting that you're doing. Space is another big one. You typically will need some outdoor space to do different things. But again, it just depends on the kind of composter that you're purchasing. Tumblers up off the ground can often be helpful for a lot of apartment dwellers or things like that. Don't have to pin it onto a ground surface out in a yard or anything like that. Same with the vermicomposters that I mentioned. Those are quite small and can be kept just in your basement or living room, garage, anywhere like that. So a couple of easy ways to kind of combat some of the things that people are typically most worried about. If you are an apartment dweller and you want to compost and make sure that you're kind of helping put towards the environment, you can definitely join in the effort by composting. There are definitely, like I mentioned, the tumbler and the vermicomposter are both great ways to compost in those kinds of spaces. And even if you're not someone who plants a garden or anything like that, both of those compostable materials are great in your house plants. If you ever need to repot your plants or anything like that, you can share that material with anyone if you have other friends that need it for their own gardening or their own house plants. And you can also look into any of the community gardening organizations that are around town where you can likely donate that compost to them.
Randy has our weekly adoptable pets.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Lexington Fayette County Adoptable Pets from Lex TV and the Lexington Humane Society. Hey everyone, we've got Lotso, tan and white in color, a male, approximate age 1 year, looks like a shepherd mix, does well with other dogs in apartments and also does well with children. And we've got Opie, white and brindle in color, a male, approximate age 7 years old, looks like a Labrador Jack Russell Terrier mix, does well with other dogs, does well in apartments, and yes, does well with children over the age of 5. And lastly, we've got Rooster, brown, black, and brindle, male, age approximate 1 year, looks like a mountain cur mix, does well with other dogs, does well in apartments, and also does well with children. Thanks for watching these adorable and handsome pets, available at LexingtonHumaneSociety.org from Lex TV and the Lexington Humane Society.
Sylvia Cassidy from the Council Office brings us the weekend's events.
I'm Sylvia Cassidy with the Council Office. Here are some upcoming events this weekend in Lexington and Fayette County for the weekend starting June 20th. Please note, events that require registration may sell out or fill up in advance. Be sure to confirm by visiting lexingtonky.gov/calendar. On Saturday, June 20th, help us clean up litter from the Kentucky River at our annual River Sweep event. Bring your own kayak or canoe, or borrow one that's provided, and join us at Kelly's Landing at the Boat Dock at 8:30 a.m. Registration is required and available online. At 9 a.m., Wild Birds Unlimited is hosting a bird walk at Veterans Park. You can register in person at the store or by calling 859-268-0114. Junior Naturalists will be held at McConnell Springs Park at 10 a.m., where kids in kindergarten through 5th grade can learn all about local pollinators with activities, crafts, and a guided walk. Registration is available online. Also on Saturday, Pace in Parks will meet at the Isaac Murphy Art Garden at 10 a.m. Walkers and runners of all levels are invited to join John's Run Walk Shop to log some miles before the upcoming Bluegrass 10,000 and 5K. At 11:30, Brunch with the Arts returns to Phoenix Park. Enjoy a laid-back morning of live music, food trucks, and fresh air in the heart of downtown. Then at 8:30 p.m., Raven Run will host a Pride Night hike in the partnership with the Lexington Pride Center. The event is $8 and attendees will stroll through trails and see the glow of fireflies while listening for nocturnal wildlife. Registration is limited and available online. Lastly, on Sunday, June 21st, all participants in the Bluegrass 10,000 races can pick up their race packet at the John's Run Walk Shop in Hamburg starting at 10 a.m. On-site signups will also be available that day. I'm Sylvia, and that's just some of the events going on this weekend in Lexington and Fayette County. You may need to pre-register for some of these events. For more events and more information, be sure to visit lexingtonky.gov and click the calendar tab at the top. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Here's Sylvia again with our week's meeting coverage.
Hi there, I'm Sylvia Cassidy with the Council Office. Here's our current live meeting schedule for this week, June the 15th for Lex TV. Remember, you can watch all our live meeting coverage on Lex TV, channel 185, and always online at lexingtonky.gov. On Tuesday, June the 16th in the afternoon, watch the Environmental Quality and Public Works Committee meeting at 1, followed by the Council work session at 3. And on Wednesday, June the 17th, watch the Courthouse Area Design Review Board meeting at 2 p.m., followed by the Board of Architectural Review meeting at 4. We'll also be streaming the Task Force to End Homelessness meeting at 3:30. This meeting will only be streamed live on the Lex TV YouTube channel. Finishing up for the week, on Thursday, June the 18th, we'll cover the Planning Commission work session at 1:30 in the afternoon, followed by some confirmation hearings at 4:30, and then the council meeting at 6. That's our current live meeting schedule for Lex TV for the week of June 15th. Watch all of our live meeting coverage on Lex TV, channel 185, or always online at lexingtonky.gov, and click the Lex TV tab at the top. I'm Sylvia, and we'll see you next time.
Just a reminder that all city offices will be closed Friday the 19th for the Juneteenth holiday. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on X at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on LexingtonKY.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.